My poem, Like Lilly, Like Wilson, was written 22 years ago in 1995. It first got published a couple years later in What Learning Leaves. Like many of my poems, it was a pastiche of several different students of mine. And a girl saying, not who couldn't get through a sentence without saying like, was, as you'll discover, not the main part of this poem. However, I understand some of the criticisms that were leveled against this poem, and so in recent years I have started reciting it like this: like Liam, like Wilson. I'm writing the poem that'll change the world, and it's Liam Wilson at my office door. Liam Wilson, the recovering like addict, so like bad that the entire eighth grade started calling him like Liam, like Wilson, like, until I made my classroom a like free zone, and he could not speak for days. But when he finally did, it was to say, Mr. Molly, this is so hard. Now I have to think before I say anything. Well, imagine that, Liam. It's for your own good, even if you don't like it. I'm writing the poem that'll change the world, and it's Liam Wilson at my office door. Liam is writing a research paper for me about how homosexuals shouldn't be allowed to adopt children. So I'm writing the poem that's going to change the world, and here comes like Liam, like Wilson at my office door. He's having trouble with his paper. He's having trouble finding sources for his paper, which is to say ones that back him up. They all seem to argue in favor of what I thought I was against. And it took 4 years of college and 3 years of graduate school and every incidental teaching experience that I have ever had to let out only, well, that's a very interesting problem, Liam, but what do you propose to do about it? That's what I want to know. And the eighth grade mind is a beautiful thing. Like a newborn baby's face, you can often see it change before your very eyes. I can't believe I'm saying this, Mr. Molly, but I think I'd like to switch sides. And I want to tell him to do more than just believe it, but to enjoy it. That changing your mind is one of the best ways of figuring out whether or not you still have one, or even that minds are like parachutes, that it doesn't matter so much what you pack them with, so long as they open at the right time. Oh God, Liam, I want to say, you make me feel like a teacher. And who could ask to feel more than that? I want to say all of this, but I manage only, Liam, I am like so proud of you. So I finally taught somebody something, namely how to change his mind. And I learned in the process that if I ever change the world, it's going to be one eighth grader at a time. I made notes of three things that I want to say about this poem. One is that it was written in 1992. I was going to graduate school at Kansas State University in Manhattan, Kansas. Uh, Bill Clinton had just been elected president, and that was gay adoption was a thing. There was a real debate about that, and so that was I had a young woman who was in my freshman composition class, and that was her topic that she wanted to write about. And I was very pleased with myself that I had managed to, keep my liberal, progressive, ponytailed, democratic, uh, smarter than thou, elitists, coastal, intelligent snobbery from saying, "You bigot, you can't. Are you? Is that really what you think? No, that's what your parents think." Yeah. And I let her go and do the research, and she came back and said, "Listen, all of the sources that I found that back up my opinion do not, follow the rubric that you handed out. I have to ask these certain questions of the sources, and all the sources that do follow your that pass muster, argue the other way." And I said, and so that part of the poem is true. Like, well, then what do you want to do about it? And she said, well, I think I want to change sides. If in truth be told, what she actually said was that she argued that lesbian couples should be allowed to adopt children, but gay men, she wasn't quite sure. But when I wrote the poem in '95, I just took that out. Maybe that's another version of it. A couple things. Changing your mind is one of the best ways of figuring out whether or not you still have one. And minds are like parachutes; they only work when they're open. I didn't come up with those, and every now and then I see on Twitter somebody says, like Taylor Molly says, minds are like parachutes; they only work when you open. Or the best way of finding out whether or not you have a mind is to change it. That's not what it is. Um, those are like bumper stickers from the 90s, right? And I just sort of assumed everybody would know I'm quoting the bumper sticker. So um, if I knew then that people were going to be attributing to me those catchphrases, I would have put in like the bumper sticker says or something like that. And lastly, I've had boys and girls who both have the like disease. I taught at an all boys school after graduate school. I've probably had more boys who have the like disease, can't get through a sentence without saying the word like. So why did I make it female? Why did I make Lily Wilson? I could have made her either gender. And the truth is that I based the gender of Lily Wilson on the college freshman that I had. I never would let an eighth grader write about anything that hinged upon a constitutional First Amendment, Bill of Rights constitutional debate. I'm frankly not interested in argue. This maybe shows I'm not the greatest teacher. I don't want to listen to an eighth grader argue social values with me. I'd rather just sit down with their parents, than. But a college freshman, it's time for them to start figuring these things out for themselves. So I made Lily Wilson female because the girl who I had, young woman who I had in my freshman composition class in 1992 in Kansas was female. Um, but that's why, equal opportunity. I don't want to be accused, particularly because the poem is about educating yourself to the point where you can change your own mind. I don't want to be guilty of shaming young women for the way they speak. Women get tarred with the reputation of speaking in uptalk and peppering their sentences with like more than men do. That's just, I don't know why that is. Plain old-fashioned sexism. But I don't want to be contributing to that, particularly when the main thrust of the poem is about something else that in this day and age nobody argues with gay adoption. Kids need love, no matter where it comes from. So now I've changed it to Liam, and don't let me ever be accused of dumping on one gender. I want to do it equally. I want to dump on both genders when they're both guilty of the same thing. Have a wonderful day. Bye.